Hey there, and welcome back everyone. Following on from our previous lesson, which covered vouchers, this one is going to take us to the somewhat related topic of prize promotions. Now this is somewhat of a smaller component compared to most of the other pieces of marketing and promotions, so it should be a somewhat shorter lesson as well, but you never know. Hopefully we can keep this one to under an hour or so. So quick agenda for you. We will begin with an overview of prize promos, what they are, what they're used for, a couple of related system settings, etc. Then we will get right into configurations for the prize promotions themselves. But as you'll come to see, we do have a number of different what are called promotion types for prize promos, as well as a number of different prize types. So those are the things that can be awarded or given as prizes. So after we go through all those setup configurations, we will finish up with some demos. Alright, well, let's get into back office and we will get started. Okay, so not really too much to explain about prize promotions before we actually get into them. Basically, these are a different type of promotion that can be set up in the system to reward customers for something. And that something could be as simple as entering the venue, or it could require something such as purchasing a certain product or earning a certain amount of points. So on and so forth. You'll see some of the different prize promotion types that we have in just a few minutes. By the way, as you'll also see in a bit, some of the prize promotion types do require that an account needs to be active in the transaction in order for what's referred to as qualifying criteria to be able to be used, and in order for them to receive the prize or for the prize to be awarded to the account. Speaking of which, the things that customers can be rewarded with, which I mentioned are referred to as our prize types. Those can range from vouchers to bonus points and even some advanced options and things, and we'll see those in a couple minutes. And similar to other marketing and promotions components, we can also configure prize promos with filters and schedules, along with some other neat things such as putting a cap on the amount of prizes that an individual prize promotion will award. But yeah, that is really the gist of it, and if any of that is unclear, that's alright. I know I went through that pretty quickly, but when we get into the configurations and the demos, it should clear up any questions that you might have at this point. Now, before we do get into the configurations of the prize promotions themselves, though, there are just a couple of other related settings throughout the system to go through. The first is going to be actually at the global level. It's not really anything to set up, just something that I want to show you as a reminder that we do have custom fields that we can set for prize promotions, and when we get into prize promotions later, you'll see where we can access them from there as well. But one of the other things that I would like to show you is going to be on the till maintenance form, where on the printing setup tab we can configure the printer and the format that are going to be used when printing prize promotion prizes that are going to print to till printers. As you'll see once we get into the different prize types, some of them can be printed, and for the ones that are printed, we can designate here which printer to use for a till and which format to use when those are printed from the till. So there may be a separate printer in place for printing prizes, but in our case here, I'm just going to leave it as same as receipt. And for the voucher format, I will set that to our vouchers one. And then you can probably guess the other consideration that we've got at the more of a global level. In this case, it's going to be for operators. As you've come to expect by now, we have operator privilege flags pertaining to most, if not everything. And it is no different for prize promotions, where we have a privilege flag that controls the ability for operators to maintain them, and then a couple additional ones down here for relating to prize promo custom info. Cool, but that's it. Like I said, just a couple of things to go through there. So without further ado, we will get into the prize component itself, which is going to be right here in the marketing and promotions menu. Prize promotions should be the second one from the top. Now, not too much in this window itself either. As we've come to expect with these things, it will contain a list of existing prize promos. We can see that I've got a couple here that I had created in the past for the points lesson previously. We will actually use some of these as examples in a little bit to get us started. But yeah, along the top, sort of our standard options here, giving us the ability to create new prize promos, edit existing ones, copy existing ones, and even delete them. Although we do have the option from within the prize promo setup to disable them temporarily. Now before I open one of these existing prize promos, just notice that from the standard view for this list, we do have another view called maximums and counts, but for the standard view, which yes, this is a report, but we can see any venue limitations if there are any set up. Of course, we can see the promo name, we can see if it is currently active or not, we can see the promo type, the prize type, so I've mentioned those things a couple times already. We can see the quantity of prizes that have been given up to this point in time, and we can see any scheduled days, or if they're on permanently like these are, we'll be able to see that. So speaking of the promo types and the prize types again, these are things that I mentioned a couple minutes ago and said that we have several options for both. In the case of this 1000 bonus points prize promo with the entry promo type, the concept is simple. A customer has to have an account, but then all they need to do is use their account card or complete a transaction that their account is attached to that confirms their entry. And then they'll be awarded the prize. In this case, the prize is 1000 points. So let's take a look at this and we'll see how this was set up, and then we'll run through a bunch of general prize promo configurations too. Cool, so we might as well just start from the top. The promotion name is the promotion name. It should be relevant to the promotion itself so that it's easily recognizable in the system. Depending on the promo, it could include product names, or it could be the same name as an advertised promotion, or something like include a venue or store name to distinguish between similar prize promos. If maybe we have this filtered to stores and maybe one is for the bar and it's also 1000 bonus points or something like that, that could say sports bar 1000 bonus points, and maybe a different one could be bistro 1000 bonus points or something like that. But in our case, we don't have any filters for this one. It's just called 1000 bonus points. Cool, so beneath that we've got our promotion type dropdown. This is going to list all our different options, and notice that if I tab down through these, each one will have some different qualifying criteria. We can see the fields and things in that little box changing there as I tab through those. So in other words, the conditions that must be met for a prize to be awarded for each of these different promotion types is going to be different, although some of them are going to be similar, but we'll see that as we go through them. Now, after we get through all the general settings that apply to prize promos overall, we will come back to these promotion types and we'll go through each one individually. But yeah, next to that we have, actually I should set this back to entry. Cool, so next to that we have our disable flag, which I mentioned a couple minutes ago. So if we turn that on for a prize promo, it will prohibit it from being used. That can be helpful, might be necessary for temporarily disabling a promotion as opposed to deleting it, or as opposed to altering a schedule if there's a schedule set for it. By the way, I should mention that in order for a prize promo to be deleted, it does need to be set as disabled first. And lastly, for our little header section up at the top of the prize promo maintenance form here, we can optionally add a photo or image that might be relevant to the prize promotion. For our examples, I'll just leave all those alone, but we do have that option there. Cool, so focusing on this little filter section then, as you might imagine from other places in back office where we have filters that we can apply, these can be used to limit the prize promotion to only be active for certain venues or stores, or potentially tills, or for accounts. Now, I don't have a multi-venue set up here in this database, but for those of you that do, there will be a venue drop down here in this space, which will allow for choosing one venue from the database or a venue set that a prize promo can be filtered to, meaning that the promo will not be active in other venues at all. Same idea for stores, so This dropdown will allow us to select a store or a store group to limit the prize promotion to, and in that case, if we were to select one, maybe if we just set this to the sports bar, this prize promotion would then not be active in any other stores. If I do select a store or store group, I might as well just select that there. We will then be able to filter to a specific till even. So can filter it to the store first, and then if the store has multiple tills, we might then configure it to a specific till. There are certainly use cases out there where within a store we might only want a prize promotion to be active for a single till, so we do give you that option available. Lastly, for filters, we have our account profiles. So hopefully you remember these from the account lesson. We can even add one from here as a little shortcut. Just cancel out of that. But yeah, if we do have an account profile set for a prize promo filter, I just have one here called test. What would happen in that case is the prize promo would only apply to accounts that meet the parameters or the criteria of that profile. Now keep in mind, actually if I go to edit one here, keep in mind that we do have the ability to configure an account profile to exclude account sales, meaning that we could make it so that a prize promotion could only be available for non-account sales. I will just cancel out of that. Let me turn that off. I will turn that back to all stores. Cool, so moving down to the schedule section here, nothing we haven't seen before. If I turn that off for on permanently and we go to add, so yeah, we can add a schedule or multiple schedules if we'd like to, which will then determine the days and times that the prize promotion will be active. So that may or may not include, we may want to or not want to set some overall start and end dates, and then specific days of the week, month, or year, all the different ways that we've seen in the past that a schedule could be configured. And of course, with exact start and end times if we'd like to. After all, there could be cases where a prize promo should only be active on certain days and for specific periods of time on those days. But of course, we could just set a prize promo to be on permanently. Cool, so that brings us to our prize details section then, which begins with setting the prize type. In this case, it's been set to points. But if I select, just click in there and we start to tab through those, we can see that each prize type is going to have some varying prize details that we can set, some different fields and settings for each one. So if I set that back to points, this one is pretty straightforward. We would just enter the amount of points that are going to be awarded when the prize promotion is triggered. So if I set that back to 1000 there, so whichever prize type is chosen, if it's points or if it's something else, the prize details then need to be configured to define the actual prize that will be given when the qualifying criteria up here is met. So again, we'll go through the prize types individually in a bit, although there are a few that we won't be covering just because they're a little more involved and beyond the scope of this course. But before we get to those, the last section here before we get into some specifics on the promotion types and prize types is the maximums and counts. So this section is part statistics / reporting and part configuration. For the configuration part, we can set maximums. So I mentioned this earlier, we can set maximums or caps on the number of prizes that can be awarded for this prize promotion. So the top one here is going to be for the prize promo overall, if we want to limit a prize promo in that way. So maybe there's one that we want to cap at 5, or maybe we want it to be 10, and after that number of prizes have been awarded from this prize promo, we do not want to award any more, or we can leave it at 0 so that there will not be a limit at all. Then beneath that setting, we can see how many have been awarded to date, in this case just the one, but then we can be more specific with maximums if we would like to. So we can set a maximum per day and we can see how many have been awarded today so far, and we can even set maximums for each individual account, either overall or per account per day. So this one has been set to award an account only once here, which will obviously override the max per account per day one. But yeah, we can also set a max per transaction here. So that one might make a bit more sense once we get through the promotion types and the prize types, but there could be instances where the qualifying criteria could be met multiple times in a single transaction and therefore award multiple prizes per transaction. That is, of course, unless we choose to limit that here by setting that to something. Now, as you've probably noticed here, there are several things on the prize promo form that refer to accounts, but it's important for me to mention that prize promos are not only able to be awarded to account holders, they can be awarded to non-accounts also. It all depends on the promotion type and possibly the prize to be awarded. For the promotion type, we'll go over them all, of course, but it is also going to be written in the description beneath here after each one is selected. So, for example, for the entry one here, we can see that this can only be awarded to accounts. As for the prize types, there won't be any descriptions for them, but we'll just take a little bit of product knowledge, which you've got at this point. But you'll be able to see as we go through these that there are certain prizes that could only be awarded to accounts. Just like points here, we can only award points to accounts. Cool, well, now that we have covered the basics and all the general configurations for prize promos, we will go through each promotion type and each prize type, or most of them anyway. Like I said, there's a couple that we will not be covering. But yeah, we might as well just start with what we've got here, even though we kind of have spoken about them already. But for the entry promo type here, you can see that there is not much to set for it at all. The real qualifying criteria, as I mentioned earlier, is just the action of entry itself. So again, that's only going to be applicable to accounts, and when the account holder either uses their account card or enters their account number or completes a transaction where their account is attached. But what we can do is we can set the number of hours between entries. In other words, the minimum amount of time that needs to pass before an account holder could be eligible for being awarded the prize again. So for example, maybe we set this to 6 hours. Then if the account holder comes in for lunch, they could qualify and be awarded the prize, in this case their 1,000 points, and then maybe they come back for dinner later in that same day because they love No Hats, No Stars so much, and if it's been at least 6 hours since they were awarded the prize for their lunch visit, they will be awarded the prize again. Of course, that would not happen for this particular setup though, since we do have this limited to one promo per account. But anyway, you get the idea there of how that could be used. Now, as for the prize type of points, straightforward for this too. Again, just enter the number that will be awarded, in this case 1,000. Then for all prize types, we'll see as we go through them, we can optionally set a display message to appear on the till screen where the prize has been triggered, which, by the way, if the prize includes an amount of something like this one does, we can actually see this in the little tooltip here. So if the prize includes an amount of something, if the display message includes $signs, the $signs will be replaced with the amount of the something in the message. So for example, if I write congrats, you've earned $sign bonus points, the message at the till will read congrats, you've earned 1,000 bonus points. We'll see an example of that later, but that is how to configure that if we want the amount of whatever is entered here, whether it's a points prize type or something different that awards an amount or value of something, that will be shown there in place of those $signs. Cool, actually that reminds me I should turn off this max promos per account so that we can demo this later with our test account who has already received it. But what I might set is the max promos per day per account to 1, so that after we demo it once, it will not keep awarding to them. But yeah, let me save this, and we will actually, before we go to this other example, we'll start a new one, and we'll go through some of the other promo types and prize types here. Cool, so I guess what we might do here is just go through the promo types and the prize types together while setting up some examples that we can then demonstrate later on. Yeah, so next on the list is going to be our transaction promotion type. We can see from the description here that this promotion type can be used for both account and non-account sales. In fact, if the required field here in the qualifying criteria is left to none, this will literally award every single transaction. However, we can use these settings here to set the required field, and the field contains configurations. But we will use this one for a demo later on with the required field just left as none, so it will award literally every single transaction. And to try to keep these demos as simple as possible, we will not worry about setting up any filters, and we will just set them all to on permanently too. And I won't set any maximums either. Actually, for this one, I will set this also to max per account per day. So even though this will trigger for all transactions, whether they're account sales or non-account sales, we can limit it to 1 per day per account if we'd like to. And obviously feel free to incorporate any or all of those configurations into your prize promotions, the maximums and counts and schedules and filters and so forth. But like I said, we'll try to keep things a bit simple and streamlined for us here today. So we'll leave that stuff there. And then for the prize type for this example, we'll go with the first one on the list, which is already selected here, ticket. So this is simply going to award a ticket when the promotion is triggered. And keep in mind, I should mention that is not a voucher. It's different from a voucher. It's important to note that difference, and we'll get to the voucher prize type in a little bit. But for this one, it will literally just print a ticket or multiple tickets. We can set that here with a message on it. So as with the other example, we can have a message display on the till screen where the prize is triggered. And again, we can do that for all of the prize types, so I won't keep mentioning that these options here for display message will be available for each one. But yeah, might actually have this one to not print a display message, but then for the printer message, let's go with something generic. There we go, something generic there. Congrats, you've earned 1 entry into tonight's draw. And then we can set, tab out of that, we can set the printer where we would like the ticket to print from, either a specific printer all the time or from whichever printer is set up as the prize printer for the till where the transaction has occurred. So in our case, that is going to be the virtual receipt printer anyway, but I will just leave this as the till's prize printer. We saw earlier in workstation maintenance how we can configure that. And we can set a printer format here to use for the ticket when it is printed. If we take a quick look at those, if I'll save this, I'll just need to give it a name. Let's call this one, just call that ticket per transaction. We'll go ahead and save that. So if we quickly go to our operational setup, our printer formats, and we look at our voucher printer format that we have set up here for the prize promo type. For the ones that we set for the prize promos, they do need to have the prize promo format type, and we only have one of those configured in this database, so it's our only option anyway. But we could potentially set up specific printer formats to be used for a prize promo ticket with some different configurations. You can see there aren't many things to configure here, but we could create some specific printer formats for each prize promo ticket or for each prize promo voucher if we would like to. Anyway, we'll head back to the prize promo list, and we will take a look at this in, wrong one. We will take a look at this one in Smart Pause later. So while I'm not setting any schedule for this, a use case for a promotion like this or for this promotion type and potentially this and with this prize type, or it could be for a different prize type, could be for a different promotion type, but a use case for this could be that it's scheduled for maybe just a few hours on an evening where there's some contest or giveaway or something like that going on, so that in this instance during that time period every transaction would earn a ticket entry into the contest, or they'll be awarded a ticket that they can use for entry into the contest or the giveaway or whatever the case may be. But cool, let's save that and let's add another one, and we'll check out the next promo type, which is birthday. So this one's pretty self-explanatory, but it is important to note that this can only be awarded to accounts, and actually only if the date of birth has been set up for the account also. So the premise is simple here. From there though, it will award an account holder the prize that's configured on their birthday, or optionally, we can turn this on for award for month of birthday, in which case the account would be awarded the prize on any day during their birthday month. So this is definitely one that we might want to set some maximums to limit the number of prizes that an account can be awarded overall or per day, but we will just leave them alone. As for a prize type use case, we could go with, let's go with account credit, since after all, the promotion type can only be used for accounts. We might as well pick a prize type that can only be used for accounts also. Pretty straightforward for this too though. It will award whichever monetary amount we enter here as a credit to the account. So maybe for our account holders, we are willing to gift them with a $50 credit for their birthday, maybe, entice them to come in during their birthday month in this case, and we'll gift them, they'll be awarded with a $50 credit, and we might have a display message show for them. There we go, happy birthday, here's $sign on us, and again, those will be replaced with the 50 in that case. So yeah, I will just set that to on permanently. I'll give this one a name, and we'll go ahead and save that one. Cool, for our next example, let's actually open this 3000 bonus points one that I had used previously, because this is using the next promo type on the list, which is points. So this is another one that can only be used for accounts, of course, and in saying that, I should add that the account will need to be set up to be able to earn points too. Remember that accounts can be configured to earn points or to not earn points. So obviously, given that this promotion type is based on points being earned, an account holder needs to be able to earn points for this to be applicable to them. But how this works then with the qualifying criteria is that the prize is going to be triggered when an account earns the points that are configured as the required points. In this example, it's been set to 100 points, but then there are some other options here too. We can do what's called points can accumulate, so we can allow points to accumulate, which means that the required points can be accumulated over multiple transactions. So let's say, for example, an account earns 40 points in a transaction. While they have not earned the prize during that transaction, they haven't earned enough points to trigger the prize. As they continue to come back after multiple times and dine with us here at No Hats, No Stars, each transaction will be able to accumulate points towards the total if that flag is on. However, if it's disabled, then the required points condition must be met in one single transaction, so I'll just leave that alone for us here. Additionally, if and only if the points can accumulate flag is off, actually I'll turn that on for a second just to show you that that disappears. So if and only if that is off, we will then have this option here called end for every subsequent blank points, which is optional to set. But how this would work is that we would set a subsequent number of points that will be required to award additional prizes. So for example, with our required point set to 100 here, if we then set this to 100 points also, if the account were to earn 200 points in a single transaction, the prize will be awarded twice. Just remember that no accumulating and awarding additional prizes for subsequent points earned, only one or the other. So if we turn that on to be able to accumulate this 100, they cannot also earn subsequent. But if we are not allowing points to accumulate, then they can earn multiple prizes within the one transaction. Also, if this is being used to be able to award additional prizes, just be mindful of any maximums that might be set. But yeah, even though this promo type is straightforward. It only has a few configuration options here in the qualifying criteria. There are quite a few ways that this could be set up. And by the way, I should mention that I'm doing something here that is not recommended, which is altering a prize promo configuration after it's already been used to award prizes. We can see that this has already given out one, but yeah, that's okay. This is just a demo database, so do as I say, not as I do. Once a prize promotion has been configured and it's given out any prizes, it is definitely advised not to make too many adjustments to the configurations and setups that are set for it. And speaking of which, we have already seen this points prize type here, so might change that to a different one. Let's go with display only for now, but we won't use that for this one. I'll just explain what that will do. That will literally just display a message on the till without awarding anything else from the system. That probably sounds more pointless than it actually is. A use case would be something like when the prize is triggered and the message displays. So I won't enter a message here, but let's pretend that I have. Let's say I've put a message in there that says, congratulations, you've earned a free toaster. So when the prize is triggered in this case, so there's an account sale active and they have earned 100 points. And so that's going to display the message, congratulations, you've earned a free toaster. The operator at the till can see that and they can hand their free toaster to them. Might be a bad example, I apologize, but hopefully that gets the point across there at least. But yeah, the idea is that the venue has something else that's not BPOS related that they would like to award the account. They just need to be notified that that award has been triggered. What I will actually set this to for a demo is going to be voucher. So now we're tying this back into the previous lesson on vouchers and gift certificates. And we could then set this prize promo to award any voucher from the system. They will be listed in this drop down here. So we might do the $5 beverages one, but it could be any. A gift voucher is another good example. So we could combine that with the promo type that's not accounts based as an alternative to giving an account credit. So maybe we've got that set to, we'll go through those, but we could set the promo type to something that's not account based and then give out maybe a $50 gift certificate. So an alternative to the other account credit promotion type that we saw a couple minutes ago. But yeah, we do even have shortcuts here to be able to edit or add a new voucher if we'd like to. And we can set the number of vouchers to award. We probably don't want this set to 3,000. Maybe that'd be like something like just one. And then the same options that we saw for the ticket prize type for the rest of the display and printing options here. Something that I forgot to mention though is that we can, well, I did sort of mention it, but I didn't mention that we could do it straight from here, is that we can actually add a new print format right from this prize promotion maintenance window, which is then going to automatically populate the prize promotion name as the format name. So like I said earlier, we might want to configure separate printer formats for certain prizes, for certain prize promotions. If it is a voucher or a ticket prize that's issued, we can set up individual specific printer formats for those. But I will not do that. I will just leave this one as voucher. And I will leave the rest of this as is also. I might just give this a different promotion name. Again, this is not advised for a prize promotion that has already issued a prize. There we go, 100 points earns Bev voucher, so that explains that pretty clearly there. Cool, and I will just go ahead and save that one. Alright, probably just one other voucher that we will create for a demo. We're starting to push it on time here, but we do have a handful of other promo types and a couple other prize types to run through. And obviously, as you can see, there's, maybe you haven't seen yet, we haven't gone through them all yet, but there are dozens of potential combinations of promotion types and prize types that we could set up. But yeah, for our next one, I will just show and explain a few of these other promo types before we settle on one to save and demo. So the next one we might go with is random. This is one that can be awarded to anyone. There's no account requirement at all for this, and this will simply award the prize randomly with any transaction. So based on whichever factor is set here, as the chances are 1 in blank. So maybe we've got that set to 10 or 500 or 10,000, completely up to you. The true randomness of this means that it is possible for this promo type to be triggered several times in a row, or to not be triggered for a long time between prizes being awarded. And this is one that is recommended to set some maximums, such as the total max, or to the maximum per day, or both of those. But yeah, pretty simple one to set up for the random promo type here. Next on the list is going to be purchases, which we can see here awards anyone based on purchase amount, and accounts can accumulate the amount. So the concept here is that this will award the prize based on the customer spending a certain amount, so maybe $50. And then specifically for accounts, we can also set it so that sales can accumulate amongst multiple transactions. So similar to what we went over for the points promotion type, with points being able to accumulate, accounts can accumulate purchases for this one. And also similar to the points promo type, we have this end for every subsequent option here, meaning that we could award multiple prizes in one transaction if both an initial required purchase amount and then subsequent amounts are both met, but I will just leave that without. And lastly, for the qualifying criteria for the purchases promotion type, we do have the option to filter it so that the required purchase amount needs to be for products from a specific sort group, type, or type group. So maybe we'll set this one up for $50 that needs to be spent on desserts, and maybe we'll set it as sales can accumulate. Cool, and again, I will leave the filters off and we'll set this one on permanently. And for our prize type here, let's go with something that we haven't seen yet. We'll do points multiplier. Actually, before I finish setting this one up, we will check out some of the others, or I'll point some of the other ones out at least. There's only one other prize type that we will cover. The CA link ones and this external DLL one are definitely too advanced for this course, but I do want to touch on this discount limit prize type, which is obviously only applicable for accounts. So if you remember back to the accounts lesson where we can set the discount limit for accounts, which is the total amount of discounts that they are able to receive based on their pricing policy, we can use this prize type to increase an account's discount limit by whichever amount is entered here. So some interesting use cases out there for this one for sure. But we'll go back to the points multiplier, finish setting this one up. So this is obviously also only applicable to accounts. And more specifically, again, only for accounts that can earn points, of course. So what this will do is it will multiply the points that are earned in the transaction by whichever percentage is set here, and add that as some bonus points. So let's say, for example, the transaction earns 100 points, and then we've got this set to maybe 25%. The account will earn an extra 25 points on top of the 100. So again, they're earning 100 points. They're going to then get 25% bonus, so an extra 25. They'll end up earning 125 points instead of just the 100. Just important to keep in mind that this will only apply to the points that are earned in the transaction that triggers the prize. So if this is set for sales to accumulate, like this one is here, the extra points will only be based on the final transaction that does trigger the prize. All right, let me just give this one a name. $50 for $50 dessert for bonus points. Cool. Go ahead and save that one. So that covers all of the prize types that we'll include in this course, but we do have a few other promo types to get to still. So we might set up one final example. We'll go through the rest of the promo types. Luckily, some of them are pretty similar with some minor differences. So the first one, I'll actually point out this external prize promo type, and this is one that we will not be going through. It's just out of the scope of our course here. But yeah, then we do have another one that is specific to account, is our account credit. So what this is going to do is it's going to award the prize based on the required payment, which is how much the account is paying towards their line of credit in a transaction. So similar to some of the other promo types that we've seen, the qualifying criteria here does include options for payments to accumulate over multiple transactions and for subsequent payment amounts within a single transaction, being able to award multiple prizes. Now, since this is for accounts only, some use cases for prize types could be things like awarding account credit. So it could be something like the required payment is $100 and then the award is going to be $10 of account credit. Could be one example there. Some other examples could be that when an account pays a certain amount towards their credit, that they will receive one of these points related prizes or maybe a discount limit. Cool, then for our final 5 promo types, I know that sounds like a lot, but some of them are somewhat similar. They're all somewhat similar in that the prize will be awarded when a certain amount or quantity of products have been sold. And they can all be awarded to anyone. And the final 5 I should mention are going to be product quantity, product list quantity, product list sales, product list gross sales, and payments. Speaking of which, we will skip down to the payments one first. It is a bit different than the other 4. So this is sort of similar to the purchases promo type that we looked at earlier, except that that one we saw can be filtered to a product type or sort, and is going to award the prize for hitting a required purchase amount. This one is for a payment amount, which when there are potentially discounts and promotions and things like that in place, can obviously sometimes be different than the purchases amount. Also, this one cannot be filtered to a specific product sort or type. And again, we do have the options here for accumulation and for subsequent amounts. So plenty of use cases out there for this payments promotion type too. Next up, we might work a bit backwards from the bottom of the list here. So we'll go with our product list gross sales first, and then actually we'll do the product list sales. So I'll just point these out, how similar they are: product list gross sale and product list sales. So both of these are going to trigger the prize to be awarded when a certain monetary amount has been spent on products that belong to the designated key list, whatever has been set here. So similar configurations aside from that we've seen for the other promotion types, to be able to set the required amount that needs to be spent on those products from the key list, and then the options to accumulate for accounts and the subsequent option also. But aside from that, I'll just select one of these key lists here. Aside from that, we do have the option here to exclude promo items, meaning that if a product is discounted due to an active promotion, its sales amount will not count towards the required sales for this prize promo. Now, the distinction between this promotion type of product list sales and the other product list sales of product list gross sale is that this one considers only net sales, whereas the product list gross sale promo type bases the award on gross sales. But other than that, these two promo types are exactly the same. So again, one looks at gross sales, the other looks at net sales. We can see the qualifying criteria settings here for the gross sales one are exactly the same as the product list sales one. Nothing in there has changed, but just keep in mind that that will apply to any of the products that are within the key list that is selected there, and plenty of use cases for both of those promotion types, especially considering that they can award prizes to anyone, not just to accounts. Cool, then our final 2 promo types are product quantity and product list quantity. So rather than being based on sales amounts, these two are going to be based on product quantities being sold. One, the product quantity, we can set a specific product or product group. And the other one, product list quantity, we can select a product key list. So given that we have a pretty good understanding of these other qualifying criteria settings already, these should be pretty easy to comprehend for us. For the product quantity one, we just need to set the required quantity. Again, accounts can accumulate across multiple transactions, and again, we offer an option for subsequent quantities being purchased to be able to award additional prizes. But we do need to select a product or product group from the database. So for a product group, we do have this size drop down here, but for a product group, the size is going to have to be set to any size. But if we do select a specific individual product, we can then select one of that product sizes to apply. But we do still have the option for a specific, if an individual product is selected, to have it set to any size. And again, we have a flag here to exclude promo items. We also have an additional flag for this and the other product quantity promotion type to exclude zero priced products, meaning that if any product that would otherwise count towards the required quantity has been repriced to zero, its sales will be excluded. So that gives us a bit more flexibility where we might want to still include products that are discounted from promotions, but not if they've been discounted to free. So in that case, we might want to turn that flag on, but leave that one off, or we might want to have both of them on. Of course, we could have both of them off, and then we won't exclude anything, even if they are being discounted due to a promotion, even if they're being discounted to zero. So then lastly, we've got our product list quantity, where we will need to select a key list from the dropdown. We'll just go with chef specials here. Other than that, everything else is the exact same as it was for the other product quantity one. I will stick with this promo type to set up this one last example for us that we can demo. So I'll leave that as the chef special key list there, which by the way, we can view and edit key lists from here if we'd like to. That also reminds me that for key lists to be used in prize promotions, all of the products in the key list must have a specific size selected. So if we go ahead and look at the key list items here, we can see those have all had a size selected there. If any product in the key list does have a size configured as select size, the key list will not be able to be used for a prize promotion. Cool, so for our last demo here, let's say the required quantity is going to be 2. I will leave everything else alone and I'll set that to on permanently. And as for the prize type, we will go with a voucher for this one. And we'll go a bit meta with this one. This is the product key list is for chef specials, and then we will set the $10 off chef specials voucher to be given as the award or the prize for that one. And I'll set the format to vouchers. We do need to give this one a name, of course. Well, now before we head to SmartPause and run through some demos, I do just want to point out these buttons at the bottom. Again, we do have custom fields that can be set up and used for prize promos, and for each one they can be configured here. We do have some documentation in my BPOS that covers a handful of use cases for custom fields for prize promos. And also, we can view prize promo usage reports for each one after they've been created and begin triggering and awarding prizes. So this little report here will show some relevant, important information about each instance of usage here. We can see what the standard view for that will show us. Again, these can always be edited and we can add additional views if we would like to. But yeah, with that, we will take a look at some of these in action. But I don't want this lesson to run too long. This has already run a bit longer than I expected it to, so we might just go through maybe 3 or 4 examples in SmartPause. What we might do is just quickly review one, jump into SmartPause, see what happens if and when the prize promo is triggered, and then repeat that for a couple others. So let's actually start with our ticket per transaction one here. This is pretty basic. Again, this is just going to trigger based on any transaction. We have no required field, and when the prize is triggered, it's going to print a ticket for us that is going to have a message on it that the operator can give to the customer that they can hold on to as their entry into the giveaway or whatever's going on at that time. Cool, so all we need to do for this is complete a transaction, any transaction. We do not need to attach an account. And just like that, that is going to print the ticket for us. Again, this is not a voucher. This is just a ticket for the operator to hand over to the customer. And it says, congrats, you've earned 1 entry into tonight's draw. And we can see the number here. Now that is printing because of how they, that printer format has been configured there to print a number. Cool, so simple basic example of a prize promotion happening there. We'll actually disable that one so that does not keep awarding for each transaction that we continue to go with in SmartPOS. The next one we'll take a look at is going to be this 1,000 bonus points one. So again, this is just for entry, but this is account based only. So we'll need to attach an account. We'll complete a transaction that is going to signify that they have entered. That's their entry. And yeah, they will then be awarded with their 1,000 points, and they'll have a little display message also. What I might do for this is, oh no, I've already done that, set that to max as 1 per account per day. So cool, let's take a look. Let me just attach our favorite account here and just run through any quick transaction for them. And there we go. You have earned 1,000 bonus points. Again, it is inputting that amount because we've got the $ entered in for the display message there. And just to confirm that they will receive their 1,000 bonus points, they have currently 4,223. So if I just click OK for that, and then we go ahead and add them again, they've now got 5,223. Cool, another simple example there. Let's take a look at another. So we've got our 100 points earns a beverage voucher here. So for this one, it is going to be account based. They'll need to earn 100 points in a transaction and they'll then be given this voucher. Let's take a look. Cool, so I'll just add some products here, make sure they're earning at least 100 points. There we go, we're at 101. Let's go ahead and close that for the account holder there. Now, you might be wondering why the voucher is not printing. That is because we've configured the voucher. If you remember from the last lesson, we configured that voucher not to print for accounts. But if we go ahead and we add that account again, we will be able to see the vouchers that they have had assigned to them. And we can see right here that that $5 off beverages voucher was issued to them today. Alright, I think just one final example that we'll look through. I'll head back to back office one final time. And we'll do this chef special voucher one. So remember, this one can be awarded to anyone, doesn't have to be an account holder. If they purchase 2 products that are on the chef specials key list that we've got assigned here, they should be awarded with a voucher that is then going to give them $10 off the chef specials the next time they come in. So let's take a look at that. So again, I will not attach an account here. I'll just go ahead and add some chef specials. And I will just leave it at just those 2 products there, and we'll close that out. And there we go. The $10 off chef specials voucher has been printed right out for them, and they'll be able to bring that back in the next time with them. I believe this one is set up with no start type or expiration type, so that's why there's nothing printed there. It's going to be activated straight away. It will never expire. I believe this one might have been set up as unlimited also, so they could bring that back time and time again. Cool, but yeah, that should do it for us for this lesson. There's of course potentially thousands of other use cases out there for combining different prize promo types with prizes to be awarded. Hopefully I've been able to demonstrate that well enough for you here today. So yeah, I would encourage you to have a crack at creating a few of these in your own database and awarding them. So whether they involve accounts or not, whether they involve vouchers or not, so on and so forth. Yeah, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.